So imagine for a moment that you go to your bank, and instead of coins and paper bills, your bank handed you a list of secrets every morning, so secrets about you. Your location from last night, the websites you visited, the names and details of your friends and family, and the apps you use and what you typed into them. Now imagine that those secrets are bought, sold, traded, and leveraged to influence decisions about you. So what you see, what you're offered, whether you get a job, whether you get an opportunity, or even medical care. So that is our modern economy. Not gold, not oil, data. My name is Mariana Hassan. I'm a senior cybersecurity consultant, and I want to take you on a short journey. So how data went from being a byproduct of life to the world's most valuable currency, and why a single shift in how we design and architect security, called Zero Trust, is the way to protect it. So 20 years ago, data was just a ledger in a building. Today, it moves faster than electrons. So it's collected, replicated, enriched, and monetized in milliseconds. So how did this happen? First is scale. So every device, every smartphone, every sensor, every camera, every app they used, even your domestic appliances in your households, are filters that pour raw behavior into cloud reservoirs. Second is connectivity. So internet has become the nervous system of business and society. And third is intelligence. So that machine learning and artificial intelligence can create, so from that raw data, can create predictions, profiles, and power, the ability to influence choices at scale. Now, when you can predict someone's behavior, you can tailor advertisements, you can push a political message, you can even spot a credit risk, and that has immense monetary value. So companies that hoard, refine, and apply data, they can create markets, monopolies, and targeted influence. Countries with access to large data sets, they can gain geopolitical leverage. So we know that in the world that we live today, a single piece of information, a single piece of data can be the difference between killing thousands of lives or saving thousands of lives. So that's how critical it is. So we are in a new era. Data is not a passive record anymore. It's an asset, it's collateral, it is currency. But the question might be, if data is a new currency, why don't we just put digital vaults around it? And actually, that is exactly what the traditional model of perimeter security does. So it assumes the typical castle and moats, where you have your data, your critical assets, your company, your infrastructure, and then you build digital walls around it to protect it. You trust everyone inside, and then you inspect and protect, implement strong controls at the edge. And actually, that worked until a few years ago, where when networks were fixed and companies had all the employees sat behind desks in corporate walls, but it can fail spectacularly now. Now, why is that? So, first reason is the perimeter dissolved. So, with today's remote working, clouds, contractors, partners, APIs, mobile devices, different locations, everything pushes and extends the perimeter until it no longer exists. Second is identity is porous, so credentials are shared, they are phished, or simply stolen, and if an attacker has valid credentials, then he is just like an insider, which means game over for the organization. The third is supply chain and third-party access, which is quite a big topic now for all the organizations. They create a legitimate path to the company's environment, and that creates, obviously, a problem. And the last one is lateral movement, so traditional defenses often spot the initial break-in a little bit late, so by the time that break-in is detected, the attackers have moved laterally into networks, the damage is done, which means it would be too late. So the results, breaches don't become if, but when. So the better question is, when breaches happen, how do we detect, contain them quickly, and how can we limit the damage to keep it to a minimum? So why zero trust is the answer? So zero trust is simple as an idea, but it's difficult to implement at scale. Never trust, always verify is the core principle on which it is based on. So grants the minimum privileges, the minimum access that is necessary, and continuously validate that the context remains safe. So zero trust is not a single product. It's a security approach. It's a security architecture in cybersecurity that has practical pillars. The first, verify explicitly. So authenticate and authorize every access request using all available data points. So user device, the user identity, the location, the behavior, everything. Second is least privilege. So grant people and services only the minimum level of permissions required and nothing more. And then we've got assume breach, so monitor, log, and analyze 24/7, detect anomalies early, and act fast. And then we've got microsegmentation, which is quite an interesting concept. It's one of the biggest features of zero trust. So instead of a typical single network where we've got our infrastructure and we put protections at the edges, we can break systems and networks into isolated zones, protect each of them, so that if one of them is compromised, which most probably will be in today's world, it can limit the damage, and it means that that damage is contained only to that zone, and it's not spread. It does not affect the rest of the company. And then we've got continuous risk evaluation. Policies adopt in real time. So if a user or device with zero trust shows suspicious behavior, then access is immediately revoked. And we've got data-centric protections. So we have to classify our data, map its flow, control its movement, encrypt it, and enforce policies and controls at the file or field level rather than just at the network boundary. So here's the truth. Keeping data safe is not just a security theater, it's a business strategy. So data breaches cost reputation, they cost regulatory fines, they cost customers, and competitive advantage. And conversely, the organizations that show strong data stewardship, they build trust, which in fact is the true asset in today's digital world. Apart from this, there's also an ethical angle of this. So data isn't just about business and money, it's about people as well. So it's about us as individuals. So data shapes credit, it shapes opportunities for us, it shapes health, so it shapes our lives. So protecting it is a moral obligation as much as it is a business one. And exactly for that, Zero Trust aligns incentives. So it reduces the risk, it lowers the blast radius of the attack, and it creates due care for customers, partners, and for us. And I want to close it with a personal note from my consulting experience. So I once walked into a large organization, and the executives, they were quite confident that the most critical assets, the crown jewels, sit safe behind firewalls. And the result, after a few days, we found critical data, very sensitive data, critical systems, backups, unencrypted completely in plain sight within the organization. We also found privileged credentials shared across business and across people and processes within the company. And that was a comfortable and uncomfortable and vivid lesson. So sometimes even the most critical data, which in many cases our lives depend on, can sit in plain sight using very fragile locks. So we took the Zero Trust approach. We implemented identity-first controls, micro-segmentation, continuous validation, device post checking, and the results. So the attack surface did not vanish completely, but the the exposure of the company and the risk that the company was exposed to was drastically reduced. And interestingly enough, we got a call from the company a few months after that, and they told us that they were attacked and they were breached. But because of these controls, the attack was isolated, it was contained only to a small part of the network. And because of these controls that we implemented, because of data security trust, because of that, what could be an organization-wide detrimental incident, it was only contained to a very minimal part of the network. So here's my ask for you. Whether you lead a company or you design a product or you're just a citizen, treat data as what it is. So it is an asset that has value and consequence. Demand the strongest controls to be implemented into systems and infrastructures that you rely on. So whether that's private or public, demand that they are protected securely. And advocate for transparency. So ask companies how they protect your data. Ensure that they are protected securely, and insist on accountability. Because if currency can shape societies, then so can the ability to protect it. So we live in an era where our lives are recorded with bits of data and stored in clouds. So those bits of data, we can make the decision whether those bits of data become our collective wealth or become a major vulnerability for our lives. And let's build systems that implement those security controls so we can have secure infrastructure for us, for our companies, for our business ecosystem. And as one of my favorite quotes goes, it was from William Webster, security is always too much until the day it is not enough. So let's build systems before it's too late. Thank you.